Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Hey, today I want to talk to you about some more dumb people doing stupid things with the Department of Veterans Affairs, Office of the Inspector General. A few new updates over the last week or so. Wanted to share those with you so you are well aware of the dumbness that's out there. So jumping into it, I'm going to read the headline and then kind of the little blurb, tiny paragraph behind it. On each one of these to give you some insight into the wonderful world of stupidity. All right. Bronx man sentenced for offering a bribe to a public official. And with that, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. Let's jump into it. So that first one, Bronx man sentenced for offering a bribe to a public official on 8/23. This one came out from the Office of Inspector General. Mohammed Z. Abedin of the Bronx, New York, was sentenced to 3 years of probation after pleading guilty to offering a bribe to a public official. Abedin admitted that in September 2020 he offered to share profits with the VA contracting officer in exchange for her awarding VA contracts to him for personal protective equipment. So PPE. After making the initial bribe offer by email, smart, he then reiterated it in a recorded phone conversation with an undercover agent posing as the contracting officer. Abedin did not receive any VA contracts and his action did not cause a loss to the VA. This case was investigated by the VA OIG, so they caught it ahead of time. Sweet. But, it takes the person that's being bribed to come forward, right? Moving on. Next one, Louisiana man pleaded guilty to wire fraud in connection with home aid services scheme. Mark, Quarez, of Covington pleaded guilty in federal court to one count of wire fraud in connection with a scheme to defraud the VA beginning around April 2013 and continuing until July 18. He submitted false applications to the VA on behalf of veterans, claiming his business, VetAttend, had provided home aid services to veterans when it had not. Nice. As a result, the VA issued funds to more than 300 veterans and their surviving spouses, from which he fraudulently appropriated. Without the knowledge of the veterans, totaling more than $4 million. This case was investigated by the VA OIG. His sentencing date is scheduled for November 30th. A second Louisiana man pleaded guilty to wire fraud in connection with home aid services scheme. John Sutton of Mandeville? I don't know. Pleaded guilty in federal court to one count of wire fraud in connection with the scheme to defraud the VA beginning around April 2013 and continuing to July 2018. Sutton submitted false applications to the VA on behalf of veterans claiming his business, VetAttend, had provided home aid services, so it's the same information. He must be a co-owner or what have you. So same information, and the sentencing date is scheduled for November 9th. Next one. Oklahoma man pleaded guilty to threatening violence at the Tulsa VA outpatient clinic. On November 14th, Mr. McGuire of Tulsa, Oklahoma, made a call to the Ernest Childers VA outpatient clinic threatening to murder people if he was not prescribed medications in a timely manner. Shortly after making the call, McGuire entered the VA clinic with a loaded firearm and was detained by officers who had been made aware of his earlier phone call. McGuire pleaded guilty and faces up to 5 years in federal prison. The VA OIG, FBI, VA Police, and Tulsa Police Department investigated this case. Wow. Pharmacy owner convicted of payment of illegal kickbacks and money laundering. This will be the last one that I read for today. Richard Hall, a pharmacy owner in Fort Worth, Texas, was convicted of paying illegal kickbacks and money laundering related to a scheme to create a market expense to create and market expensive compounding medications. Hall and others paid marketers, recruiters in the area, and recruited doctors in the area to write prescriptions for these medications, as well as offered them investment opportunities so that participating doctors could profit from the pharmacy operations. A sentencing date has not been set. The VA, OIG, FBI, Defense Criminal Investigative Services, Department of Health and Human Services, OIG, and the Department of Labor, OIG, investigated the case. So with that, we'll go ahead and conclude it there. A bunch of dumb people doing stupid things. Have a great one. Remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.